and she didn't know what that meant yet. But she could feel the weight of their power in her soul. Mercy took a step towards her face filled with fear. "Esther, what happened? What did you do?" Esther turned to face her sister, her eyes full of determination. "I didn't do anything. The spirit chose me, and now I have to accept the consequences." Just as she spoke, a distant haunting sound filled the air, echoing like a drum beat in the distance. The earth beneath their feet seemed to tremble. "Are you sure you want to go down this path?" the woman asked softly, her voice now a mere whisper in the wind. Esther nodded, her voice steady despite the fear that gripped her. "I have no choice. I must follow the spirit." The woman gave a slow nod. "Then it is done." As the woman's form began to fade into the shadows, the room grew darker and the sound of the distant drums grew louder. Esther felt her heart race as the full weight of the spirit began to sink in. This was just the beginning. The air in the room seemed to thicken as the woman's form disappeared into the shadows, leaving only the eerie sound of distant drums to fill the silence. Esther stood rooted to the spot, her mind spinning with fear and confusion. She had made her choice, but the consequences were still unclear. She could feel the spirit's power surrounding her, an invisible force that seemed to both embrace and suffocate her at the same time. Mercy, who had been standing beside her, looked more fragile than ever. "Esther," she whispered, her voice trembling. "What did you do? What are we supposed to do now?" Esther opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. She didn't know what to say. What could she say? She had chosen, but the cost was something she couldn't fully comprehend. All she knew was that she could feel a shift in her heart, a heaviness that hadn't been there before. The spirit had spoken, and now there was no turning back. Benson, who had been watching the whole scene unfold, stepped forward cautiously. His face was pale, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Esther, what happened? What did that woman mean when she said you would bear the burden?" Esther swallowed hard, her throat dry. She didn't want to explain it, not yet. She didn't fully understand it herself. All she knew was that she had chosen and there was no undoing it. "I don't know," she said quietly, her voice barely a whisper. "But I feel like something inside me has changed. The spirits, they've taken hold of me." Mercy's eyes filled with tears as she reached out to her sister. "Esther, I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose us." Esther's heart ached at the sight of her sister's tears. She had never wanted any of this. She hadn't wanted to hurt Mercy, but the path she had chosen was now set before her, and she couldn't turn back, not without facing the consequences of the spirit's will. "I am sorry, Mercy," Esther said, her voice filled with sorrow.